Finally, The Rock has come back home. What is up, everyone? Good morning, everybody out there listening live on the Spreaker. If you're listening later on the downloads on many of our other platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. If you're listening on the download after on YouTube, I appreciate you. This is the premier professional wrestling podcast online today. It's your boy, the SoCal Saint, back at it again with an all-new edition of the IE Elite Wrestling Show, as a part of the IE Sports Radio Network. IE Elite Wrestling is your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. What is going on? Follow me on the X at IE Elite Pod. Follow IE Sports Radio at IE Sports Radio. Please check out our amazing website at iesportsradio.com, where you can see all of our past episodes. You can read up on all of our awesome hosts for every show that we have live on the network today and the rest of the week. You can actually listen to old episodes. If you've missed a few, check it out. And you can actually subscribe for free, and you can actually be a part of live blog postings, read and chat with the members of the IE Sports Radio family. And please do not forget, if you want some delicious premium brisket beef jerky, look no further than planetjerky.net. Planet Jerky. This jerky is on a whole other planet. So I guess you could tell by the way that I started the intro of my show that, of course, I'm going to be talking about the shocking, awesome return of the great one himself, the most electrifying man in sports and entertainment, the A-list box office megastar himself, the people's champion, The Rock. That's right, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson returned live unexpectedly this past Friday night on SmackDown, live on Fox. Not only that, I mean, we had the return of Pat McAfee, former SmackDown commentator, which was actually funny that happened. It was live in Denver, Colorado. The Rock was actually on Pat McAfee's show, his podcast, earlier that day, on ESPN, talking about the upcoming college football game that was going to be taking place in Denver with Colorado. Of course, the team that is coached by former Dallas Cowboy, primetime himself, Deion Sanders. So that was why The Rock was there, I guess, to give his 2 cents and to just talk it up with Pat McAfee. I guess they felt like, hey, we're in town, WWE's in town, let's give the people an awesome, awesome surprise. And The Rock showed up. It was crazy. Like, I was not expecting that. Pat McAfee started SmackDown out. Coming out, the crowd was pretty lit at that point for seeing Pat McAfee back on WWE television, and for the first time, I believe, since WrestleMania in Hollywood this past spring, excuse me. And then out came A-Town Down himself, Austin Theory, the former United States champion, to get in the face of Pat McAfee. They have a little bit of history there, as Pat McAfee and Austin Theory had a match at WrestleMania here in Dallas at the Cowboy Stadium 2 years ago. Yes, that's right, 2 years ago. Or a year ago? A year ago, excuse me. I'm already thinking it's already 2 years gone, because we're heading towards the next WrestleMania already, because we're on the tail end of the year for WWE. But anyway, and then out of nowhere, Pat McAfee made it very clear to Austin Theory that this was not his show, that this was the people's show. And you know what that means. And then you hear the all too familiar, "If you smell what The Rock is cooking." And out came Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The crowd in Denver was going completely insane. Nobody ever expected to see The Rock back on WWE television, not anytime soon, I don't believe. But with the writer's strike and the SAG actor strike going on, Rock has got a lot of time on his hands right now. Same with John Cena, and that's why John Cena's back on WWE television for these next little bit of with the next couple months. Maybe even longer, depending on how long the strike goes. I can't say the same for The Rock. I don't know if he's back for good, or if this was just a one-off, or this was teasing that he would be coming back for more appearances. Who knows? But we'll take what we can get. It was the first time The Rock had been on WWE television since 2019 on the premiere episode of SmackDown on Fox. That was the last time The Rock was on WWE television, live inside of a WWE ring. Out came The Rock, thunderous crowd, thunderous ovation. Of course, the millions and millions of The Rock's fans enjoying the sight of the People's Champion in a WWE ring once again. I'm sure the crowd, that SmackDown episode was one of the best episodes of SmackDown ever. I have to say, it was definitely one of the best episodes of SmackDown in recent memory, for sure. The Rock came out, did his thing on the mic. He got the entire crowd to call Austin Theory an asshole, which WWE had to bleep. You can watch the uncensored version of that on WWE's social media pages on YouTube. But The Rock got the entire crowd to chant, "You are an asshole." This entire crowd of 15,000 strong calling Austin Theory an asshole, which was classic Rock. Austin Theory got, frustrated, attempted to lay a beat down on The Rock, but then The Rock returned in kind, laying the smacketh down on his Rudy Poo candy ass, only like The Rock can. The Rock hitting a spine buster in the middle of the ring, and then, boom, hitting the ropes, and then he laid it down, the People's Elbow, right there on the chest of Austin Theory, and that is how Friday Night SmackDown started, with the People's Champ. And we thought that would be the last time we saw The Rock later, in the evening. But no, it was a little bit later in the show that we had an awesome little epic moment, a callback to a classic feud from 2011. That is right, I am talking about, they came face-to-face for the first time since WrestleMania. Since WrestleMania 2016, actually, when The Rock and John Cena were in the ring with the late great Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. John Cena, The Rock and John Cena came upon each other, staring at each other, and John Cena reached out his hand and said, "Welcome home," and they embraced in a hug. The crowd was going wild. It was cool to see these two absolute legends again on our television screens together. It's on SmackDown, of all places. The Rock and John Cena back together again. It's magic. And the show ended with a segment, the Grayson Waller effect. Grayson Waller came out and had John Cena on as a guest. Cena, of course, doing what only Cena can do, is entertaining the crowd. You could feel the crowd has finally shifted in favor of Cena. Cena is just, what's the saying? You never know what you got until it's gone. And that is how I feel a lot of WWE fans now, especially fans that are around my age who got to a point where we couldn't stand Cena. We definitely appreciate John Cena back on our television screens once again. So it's really cool to see Cena because, he's been gone for so long now. He's not a full-time guy anymore. He's doing his thing in Hollywood, and he's quite successful, just like Rock. I don't feel like he's at the level of The Rock yet, but it's going to happen at some point because Cena is very talented. He's very funny. So a lot of his comedies that I've seen of his are very, very good. They're really funny. He was fantastic as Peacemaker. As long as James Gunn is running the DC universe for Warner Brothers, John Cena will always have a job there as Peacemaker. He's made that already very clear that we're going to get a second season of Peacemaker on HBO Max. And I'm sure Cena will be a vital part of this new DC universe that's going to be coming to our screens here in the next few years. But that's beside the point. That's a little bit of my nerd tendency showing out there here on our wrestling show. But out came Jimmy Uso to start some ish with John Cena, and this led to a confrontation that came out where that even got worse when Solo Sikoa and the wise man, Paul Heyman, made their way to the ring, and it became a 2-on-1 beatdown with Uso and his little brother, Solo Sikoa, getting it on with John Cena, but there was this moment where we saw Cena and Sikoa just having this awesome face-off, and with that said, apparently that was just a bit of a tease, because apparently the plan right now is that John Cena will be in Tampa, Florida for the Royal Rumble. More on that later. I'll give you some more news on that later. For the 2024 Royal Rumble, because that's only a few months away. We're already in September, guys, so the Royal Rumble will be here before you know it. And the Royal Rumble this year, I'll just get into it right now since I'm already teasing a potential matchup at the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble will be taking place live Saturday, January 27th from the Tropicana Field Stadium in St. Petersburg, Florida. This will be the second Royal Rumble that will be held in that stadium, because the first one that was held there was actually held during the pandemic era of the WWE. So this was the site. The Tropicana Field Stadium was actually the site of the Thunderdome, where during the pandemic the WWE made this the base of operations for all their premium live events and Monday night and Thursday night shows. And they had the chairs were taken out of the arena, and in its place were LED screens where fans could sign up and be a part of the crowd. They could be live watching the show and have their faces and likenesses on the video screens, the Thunderdome, so to make it more appealing. It was definitely a step up from the Performance Center, where that's where WWE has started out doing shows during the pandemic, and WWE started piping in crowd noise like boos and cheers and whatnot. So it was like a live action video game in a way, because it was obviously fake crowd noise, because there wasn't anyone in the audience, just the LCD screens and the wrestlers inside the ring. So this will actually be the first Royal Rumble to take place at the Tropicana Field, which will have actual fans in attendance. Tickets have not gone on sale as of yet. They will go on sale at the end of this month, September 30th. That is when tickets will go on sale for next year's Royal Rumble, the 2024 Royal Rumble, which will also serve as the 37th annual Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble is my favorite time of year, because it also falls around my son's birthday and my birthday. So, and this falls right in between both. My son's birthday is the 25th of January, and my birthday is the 30th of January. And the Royal Rumble takes place smack dab right in the middle on the 27th. It's the 37th annual of the Royal Rumble. I am also going to be turning 37, so I'm right there with the Royal Rumble. So I'm really excited. We'll get to see who will be heading to the main events of WrestleMania for the women and the men. It is the start of the WrestleMania season. The road to WrestleMania begins Saturday, January 27th at the Royal Rumble, live from the Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. I went on a whole long spiel about the Rumble just now, just to get to this this point that I was trying to make, that apparently with that tease that happened on SmackDown, the plan is for Solo Sikoa to go one-on-one with John Cena at the Royal Rumble. That is probably the biggest match in Solo Sikoa's young career. I actually believe this will be a hell of a match. It kind of gives me callbacks to the early 2000s when John Cena feuded with Solo's uncle, the late great Umaga. And Solo already has this enforcer, silent, deadly assassin type of character, and he uses his uncle's finisher, the Samoan Spike, as his finisher. It's such a devastating finisher. He could do it to anyone. He just grabs you by the neck and drills his thumb right into your throat. That is a crazy, it's a very effective, very awesome looking finisher. I mean, sometimes it's the simplest things that look the best. And that look like they caused the most damage. So for Solo and Cena to be going one-on-one is definitely giving me callback memories to the Cena-Umaga feud, and specifically at the Rumble, too, because Cena and Umaga had a crazy, I believe it was a last man standing match, or an I Quit match, one of the two, at the Royal Rumble, either, I think it was 2007 or 2008. I'd have to go back and check, but they had a crazy match where, Cena, I think, was covered in blood. That was when they still had blood. This was before they went PG. It was just right before that. And Umaga, they beat the living crap out of each other. They had a really good match between the two of them. They always had good matches together. But yeah, so that was teased last Friday on SmackDown, and then AJ Styles came down to the ring to save John Cena from the beatdown that he was receiving from Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. And the plan right now is that AJ Styles is supposed to go one-on-one for the Undisputed Universal Championship against the Tribal Chief himself, Roman Reigns, but that won't be happening until Crown Jewel, which will be their next big event in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and that's not going to be taking place, I believe, until I think November, or I think it's November, or I'm trying to, because they haven't really announced when that's supposed to take place. But that's what happened on Friday Night SmackDown. Crazy returns. The return of The Rock. You had John Cena. It was a pretty epic episode of Friday Night SmackDown. If you missed it, I feel bad for you, because I actually got to watch it live while I was not watch it live. I was in attendance. I was watching it as I was at work. But I got to actually see it in the moment when it happened. But you can go ahead and check it out on the WWE social media pages, their YouTube page. Apparently, The Rock's return has brought the most views for any video they've had I forget, it was some crazy number. I think it was like over 100,000 views of The Rock's return in just 24 hours. Word gets around, and that rating was huge as well. I guess when word got around that Rock was on WWE television, people just took their television remotes and changed the channel to Fox to actually see it happen. And we got I got a lot of wrestling news to get into, guys. Besides the fact of the return of the Great One, we got some AEW news here I just want to share. Apparently, this story came out just a few days ago. AEW reportedly increasing to 12 pay-per-views a year, and they're going to be working out a streaming deal with Max. So a new report has come out that AEW will increase to 12 pay-per-views a year and will stream live on... Sorry, excuse me. Will be live on Max in 2024. It's been a busy year for All Elite. It's been a busy year for All Elite Wrestling, which held its biggest pay-per-view event in London last month. It appears if things are only going to expand in 2024, as a new report from Andrew Saharian of the Mat Men podcast states, he is confident that AEW will increase to 12 pay-per-views a year starting in 2024. The report also expresses confidence in AEW streaming on Max, with next day rights possibly coming into play and AEW archives possibly getting their own dedicated tabs and sections on Max. Nothing has been announced by either AEW or its parent company, Warner Brothers, or the parent company of Max, Warner Brothers Discovery. But AEW content is all over Warner Brothers Discovery television networks, TNT and TBS. And I know they had a hand in promoting All In as well in London. So that is a possibility that AEW will land their own piece of the streaming service. But I mean, that's a big if, because I mean, I know the model for AEW when they first started was that they would be quarterly pay-per-views. They weren't going to do the the pay-per-view a month model like WWE does. Sometimes WWE is even able to squeeze in 2 a month sometimes, depending on the month, I guess, or depending on what the situation is. But I mean, I don't know how that would fare, because honestly, right now, things are not looking so hot for AEW. I know they claim to have this big record attendance, largest paid attendance, or whatever it was, for All In. They were touting that, and recently a report came out from the city, from London, from a government official, that the actual attendance number for All In was 72,000 and some change. It wasn't even anywhere close to 81,000. And you got a lot of mouth breathers online for, these AEW smart marks who won't even give the number, the time of day. Why would an official government, a government official for London who keeps track of these numbers, that's their job, why would this person lie about the attendance of an event in their city? WWE has it's a widely known fact that WWE inflates their numbers. You don't think AEW is going to do the same thing? They're in the wrestling business just like WWE. They're no better than the WWE when it comes to lying about attendance numbers. Just look at the fact that attendance is seemingly worse every single week for Dynamite and for Collision. Their attendance numbers are dwindling. They talked about this on Busted Open Radio the other day. Bully Ray brought up a fact that things are not looking great for AEW. You see arenas that fit about 15,000 people, and there's only fucking 12, not even 12. There's only like fucking maybe 2,000 to 5,000 people in attendance. There's more empty seats than there's more people in them. That's not good. How can you follow your biggest event ever and you're dwindling in attendance numbers? So and it doesn't help the fact that this situation with CM Punk and the Elite led to CM Punk's dismissal from the company. I feel like that had a lot to do with it, because after that, it just seemed that attendance has started to dwindle. And before he was fired from the company, it was reported that CM Punk was their biggest merch seller. He was definitely helping with ratings. And now this. And speaking of Punk actually returned to television. I forget what channel he was on. He was actually commentating for a lesser-known mixed martial arts company. And he made a tease. I mean, take it with a grain of salt, because it's Punk. Punk likes to work the internet and likes to work wrestling fans a lot. So I honestly doubt anything will come of it, but it was a little funny to hear him say, I'm not going to, he's like, I got plenty of time on my hands for the next 2 months. He clearly stated 2 months, because in 2 months, WWE will be live in his backyard of the Chicago suburb of Rosemont, Illinois, at the Allstate Arena, Saturday, November 25th, for Survivor Series. That's right, the next biggest pay-per-view for the WWE. They're one of the big four. I believe I think it's a big five now. The big five are as follows: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. And Survivor Series will be taking place live in the Chicago suburb of Rosemont, Illinois, at the Allstate Arena, the most famous arena. I mean, it's very famous for Punk, because that is the arena where, in Money in the Bank 2011, he defeated John Cena for the WWE Championship. Blew a kiss to Vince McMahon and left through the crowd, his Chicago faithful. So there's a big history there for Punk and the WWE. Punk has already expressed, there's already reports that Punk expressed wanting to return to the company when all the brawl out shit had happened with the Young Bucks. The previous incident, not this current incident. I don't know what WWE feels like. I know I've heard rumblings that there's officials that don't want him. They feel like he's more trouble than he's worth. And then there's others that say, hey, if there's money to be made, let's do it. There's money to be made on all sides. It would be I feel like it would be a big coup for WWE to bring him back. It's a never say never type of business when it comes to wrestling, because you have guys who have burned bridges with the WWE before, and somehow they still bring them back. Hell, the Ultimate Warrior was fired, I think, 3 different times, and he was still brought back. He was brought back each different time, and he was put into the Hall of Fame before his untimely passing. Bruno Sammartino said he would never work for Vince McMahon. He and Vince McMahon were at odds for many, many years in the Hall of Fame. Triple H was able to facilitate that. The multiple times that Vince and Hogan were on the ropes, Hogan was brought back in. Superstar Billy Graham was very critical of Vince McMahon back in the day, and Billy was brought into the fold and given a Hall of Fame spot as well. Eric Bischoff tried to put the company and Vince McMahon out of business with WCW back during the Monday Night Wars, and he hired Eric Bischoff as an on-air character. If there's money to be made, Vince will put it aside. I don't know what type of scenario it is now, because of the now Vince is not his own boss anymore. Vince has to answer to someone for the first time in his entire career. I mean, he has to answer to a board of members, and he doesn't have full control. He has a decent amount of control, because now with the merger of the UFC and the WWE under TKO, and Punk has a history with the UFC, maybe there's more people that are going to be more yays than nays when it comes to, should we bring back CM Punk? And it would be pretty damn crazy to see CM Punk live at Survivor Series. So just take it with a very, very small grain of salt, because I'm not going to hold my breath on this one. But I thought it was a little funny for Punk to specifically say he's got a lot of time on his hands for the next 2 months. Coming out of Impact, out of the last episode of the 1000th episode of Impact, the wife of TNA superstar Frankie Kazarian, known as the original Knockout herself, Tracy Brooks, will be inducted into the Impact Hall of Fame at Bound for Glory alongside Mike Tenay and Don West. So Tracy Brooks will be getting immortalized in the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame alongside Don West and Mike Tenay. Congratulations to Tracy Brooks for joining an elite class of Hall of Famers such as Sting, Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle, Ken Shamrock, and now she'll be joining Mike Tenay and Don West in the 2023 class of the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Tracy Brooks. So 2 signees from AEW are now jump shipped to the WWE. The first one, this actually is an old report. I just hadn't had a chance to actually report on it. I know I kind of teased it a few episodes back, but the son of the late great, and I feel like he should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I don't know what's stopping him. Maybe now that his son is in the company, he will get a Hall of Fame spot finally. The late great loose cannon Brian Pillman's son, Brian Pillman Jr., has officially signed with the WWE. Pillman has recently started his journey with NXT, marking his entry after participating in a tryout session held in Orlando, Florida, at the tail end of July into August. According to the report, there is no immediate urgency to debut Brian Pillman Jr. on television. The initial strategy is to integrate Pillman into WWE's Performance Center system and provide him with the opportunity to acclimate himself and adjust to the environment. His departure from AEW came about when his contract with the promotion reached its expiration. Notably, his profile was removed from AEW's roster on their official website. Pillman has spent around 3 years with AEW, during which he notably teamed up with Griff Garrison for matches on AEW Dark and Dark Elevation. As Pillman's independent wrestling commitments concluded earlier this month, he faced a loss against the then NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion Kerry Morton at the Gathering 4 event in Charlotte, North Carolina. So he is already at the Performance Center. Brian Pillman Jr. is already working out and training at the Performance Center. And not only that, and a big shocker, another AEW original, the longest reigning TBS champion, the beautiful, the Amazonian-like Jade Cargill. She was undefeated, only suffering 2 losses, both to the same athlete, the same wrestler. Chris Statlander defeated Jade Cargill to become the new TBS champion. And then she lost to Chris Statlander this past Friday on Rampage in what was her final AEW match on her contract. Jade Cargill is done with AEW. They've removed her from the AEW roster on their website, and Jade Cargill, as of yesterday, has already reported to the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. Jade Cargill is now a part of the WWE roster, and apparently she will totally skip NXT. They sent her to the Performance Center, I guess, to fine-tune her skills, because apparently she signed a main roster contract, not a developmental contract, and she will be headed straight to the main roster. When that is, we do not know, but Jade Cargill will now be a part of the WWE roster. Will she still remain under the name Jade Cargill? That's her given name. That's her real government name. I don't know, because I know WWE likes to give people new names. They like to make them over and give them a new thing. I feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. Because I've been very critical about Jade Cargill in the past, especially about her abilities. I feel like she was a little green. Just a lot of simple mistakes. I mean, because she was definitely very, very early on in her career with AEW. You know, she didn't really have a lot of fine tuning when it came to, starting out in the business. But I feel like as time went on, she was getting better and better, and she was racking up these wins. She had over 50 wins before she finally lost her first match. She's very, very strong. She was booked very strong, and I feel like WWE should do the same thing with her, just tweak it a little bit. In my opinion, I saw something that actually it clicked in my head when I saw it online. Somebody suggested that she should join up with the new stable that Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits are starting. And I think that actually is a fantastic idea, because it seems like Triple H, especially under Triple H's creative direction, a lot of these factions have to have at least one female in them, which is great, you know, because I feel like Triple H is harkening back to the days of the Attitude Era, because DX himself, X-Pac, the New Age Outlaws, and then, of course, you had the ninth wonder of the world, China. So there was always one female in a group. And I feel like Jade Cargill would be an awesome addition to this new faction of the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley, because I feel like it shouldn't be... I know a lot of people think it should be Bianca Belair because she's married to Montez Ford of the Street Profits, but I feel like Bianca Belair is such a good babyface, and she's so great with children. It would really be a detriment to the WWE to turn her into a heel with her husband and his new faction, whereas they should just bring in a strong female that is proven to be a dominant heel, like Jade Cargill. So Jade Cargill will be debuting on the WWE main roster here in the near future. She is now a part of the WWE roster. Another rumor that's been going around is that apparently Ricky Starks may be the next one out and headed to WWE as well. I take that with a grain of salt, because I just read that not that long, maybe like 2 days ago. I came across an article talking about how he signed a short-term extension and that he's on his way out headed to the WWE. That one, it may be true, honestly, because he's good friends with Cody Rhodes. He even showed up at the Royal Rumble this past January. He was a guest of Cody Rhodes, and he was there in attendance to watch Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble. So maybe, and I feel like they haven't really been doing anything with Ricky Starks. And I know he was one of CM Punk's guys, and I heard that he hasn't taken it well. Or maybe not taking it well, but I can tell that he's definitely he's been vocal with his feelings about Punk and how he feels Punk was a positive influence on the locker room. And I feel like now Ricky Starks may be thinking about leaving AEW, so take that report also with a grain of salt. Possibly Ricky Starks could be headed to the WWE as well. This past weekend, the PWI 500 for 2023 was released. This is the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the famous magazine for pro wrestling fans. I used to read Pro Wrestling Illustrated back in the day. It's been a long time since I actually sat and actually read a Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine, but this is the big one. They always do this every single year. Their top 500 wrestlers in the entire world. And I mean, they really do a deep dive. They bring up wrestlers I've never even heard of sometimes, but I don't have the time to go over all 500. That would be insane. I'd probably have to do a whole episode to do that, but it may even take up 2 episodes, honestly. But I will just focus on the top 10 out of 500. I don't know how you'd narrow it down, but this is the top 10 of the PWI 500, and we're going to count from 10 to 1. At number 10, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. That, I'm a little, this is objective. This is one person's opinion. I feel Cody should have been a lot higher on the list, but as long as he's in the top 10, that's cool. So Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, number 10. At number 9, former Impact Wrestling World Champion, Josh Alexander. At number 8, former AEW All-Atlantic Champion, Orange Cassidy. Pretty good. See, I would have flip-flopped. I would have put Cassidy at 10 and put Cody at 8. But that's my opinion. At number 7, 1/3 of the never open-weight 6-man tag team champion, Kazuchika Okada. At number 6, the current AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. At number 5, the AAA Champion of Champions, El Hijo del Vikingo. At number 4, the reigning defending Intercontinental Champion, Gunther. That I can agree with that. He's definitely top 5 this year, for sure. At number 3, the current AEW All-Atlantic Champion, Jon Moxley. At number 2, the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. And at number 1, the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. That is the top 10 of the PWI 500, and for those that noticed it, the top 3 are the former members of The Shield. That's right, The Shield are the top 3 for this year's PWI 500. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Jon Moxley, The Shield. Seth Rollins, learning this, sent out an awesome tweet that actually got over 100,000 likes on X. It was a picture of him and his brothers with the Shield fist pose, just their fists, their famous Shield fist pose. They are dominating the wrestling world in AEW and WWE. So congratulations to the top 10 of the PWI 500. We're going to take a short little break, guys, and we'll be back with a little more wrestling news. And I'll see you guys here shortly. Stay tuned, guys. Do not go away.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great. Here to give ya what you want. Here to give ya what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Era.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, everybody? Hope you're still listening live to the IE Elite Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. It's your boy, the SoCal Saint. If you're just tuning in now, you missed all the great stuff that I was talking about prior to now, which was the return of the great one himself, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, The Rock, coming back this past Friday night on SmackDown, breaking all sorts of social media records with his view of his return. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and check it out on WWE's social media platforms, wherever you can view that, on Facebook, X, Twitter, X is Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever you can. Just check it out. It was awesome. Awesome to see The Rock back on WWE television. And WWE's got some new signees. From AEW, with Jade Cargill down in NXT getting a refresher before she hits to the main roster, and Brian Pillman Jr. doing his training before he shows up on either. I'm pretty sure he'll end up debuting for the NXT roster at some point here in the near future. And with that said, specifically, WWE actually held a tryout this past week at the Performance Center to see if we can get some new recruits. And some of the new recruits, or at least the participants of this last tryout, are actually from the world of professional wrestling on the independent scene. And these were the names that were listed here that were participants of this past weekend's WWE tryout at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. We have Richard Holliday, is a former MLW Tag Team Champion with the current AEW World Champion, MJF, who recently made his return to pro wrestling after battling stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. Wow, crazy. Well, God bless him, man. I'm glad to see that he's back on his feet and trying to get a job with the biggest wrestling company in the world, WWE. Maddie Renkowski, she has been featured as a part of the NWA and has wrestled for Ring of Honor, MCW, Mission Pro Wrestling out here in San Antonio, and WWN. Copeland Barbie, a collegiate wrestler from Queen's University of Charlotte. Demarius Largo, I'm not really sure. There's really no information on him or where he is known from. Possibly a college standout, but it doesn't say which school, unfortunately, on this list. David Goldie, a Monster Factory trainee. He has competed on AEW Dark and most recently participated in the NJPW All-Star Junior Festival 2023, where he defeated Vinny Pacifico. Jay Malachi has made appearances on AEW television and has wrestled for the likes of Firestar Pro Wrestling, PWF, and Deadlock Pro. Brogan Finley. And with that last name, it sounds familiar because Brogan Finley is the brother of NJPW wrestler David Finley and the son of former WWE superstar Fit Finley. Jamie Stanley has teamed up with Joe Alonzo in the NWA, where they are known as America's Ego. He has also worked as a referee. Ray Jazz has worked in MLW and has also recently wrestled for Beyond Wrestling. Hollywood Haley J. Hollywood Haley J, if you think that name is familiar, it's probably because she is a member of the newest Netflix docuseries that just premiered and is actually really, really good. I started watching it, called Wrestlers, which focuses on the former developmental territory for the WWE, Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW. And most famous graduates from OVW, of course, are the class of 2002, which featured Shelton Benjamin, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Batista, and John Cena. And so Hollywood Haley J is actually one of the wrestlers that is featured prominently on that show Wrestlers on Netflix, and she was a part of these latest tryouts for the WWE. So congratulations to her. Hopefully she gets signed. I would like to see that happen. Kelsey Heather, a WOW wrestler, Women of Wrestling wrestler, and has also wrestled on AEW television. Valentina Rossi has wrestled for WOW as well, AEW, where she made appearances on Dark. She has also been enhancement talent for NXT and WWE as well. And last but not least, Jasmine Allure, who has worked for AEW and has made an appearance on WWE television earlier this year, where she was on SmackDown in a losing effort to former WWE superstar Lacey Evans. So there you go, guys. That was the latest round of participants in the latest WWE Performance Center tryout. And we got some big shows coming up, guys, for the WWE and for AEW. Of course, let's get into that real quick before we say adieu for the day. We have here, coming up on Sunday, October 1st, it will be AEW Presents Wrestle Dream. It's another co-branded pay-per-view with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and this pay-per-view will be a tribute to the memory and legacy of the NJPW founder, Antonio Inoki. The event is taking place exactly 1 year to the day of his untimely passing. It will be the anniversary of his passing when this pay-per-view takes place. It'll be taking place live from the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. They had already only announced, last week when I had talked about this, they had only announced one match. Now they've announced a couple more. So this is what the card is looking like now for Sunday, October 1st. It will be FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Hardwood, defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships against Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis. And in a one-on-one match, we're going to get a Hangman Adam Page going one-on-one with Swerve Strickland. And one of the main events, if not the main event of the card, in the hometown of one of its participants, it'll be Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, going one-on-one with the NJPW World Television Champion, Zack Sabre Jr. Tickets are on sale now. If you want to be a part of AEW history and be a part of the celebration of the life and legacy of Antonio Inoki, go to AEWWrestling.com, or that's AllEliteWrestling.com. I'm not really sure which one, or I'm sure you can just Google AEW Wrestle Dream, and you can find your link to purchase tickets, or go to Ticketmaster.com. WWE will be on Peacock with another premium live event, but this time it's the NXT roster. It'll be live Saturday, September 30th, live from the Mechanics Bank Arena in Bakersfield, California for NXT No Mercy. I love how NXT likes to recycle a lot of WCW and old WWE pay-per-view names. I really like that. So we're going to get NXT No Mercy coming to you live September 30th on the Peacock. If you're not already subscribing to Peacock, do yourself a favor and sign up. And this will actually be the first live streaming event in which the company is not owned and controlled by the McMahon family, following Endeavor's purchase of WWE, which was finalized this past Tuesday, September 12th, with WWE subsequently merging with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The two companies still operate separately, but as divisions of a new entity called TKO. Of course, so this is going to be the first premium live event under the TKO banner. NXT No Mercy has these matches listed so far. We're going to have a one-on-one match. Braun Breaker will go one-on-one with Baron Corbin. A British Rounds Rules match for the NXT Heritage Cup. Noam Dar defends the NXT Heritage Cup against the winner of the Global Heritage Invitational. The Global Heritage Invitational Tournament. That is a round-robin tournament that is taking place currently, the finals of which will take place next week on NXT on September 26th. Right now, the participants are as follows: Tyler Bate, Butch, Patrick Dempsey, Axiom, Joe Coffey, Duke Hudson, Nathan Frazier, and Akira Tozawa. It's very reminiscent of... what's the closest thing I could really compare this to? It's very reminiscent of the G1 Climax tournament. That's the best comparison I could put. That New Japan holds every year to determine the number one contender to the IWGP World Heavyweight title for Wrestle Kingdom. This style tournament is done the exact same way, where you earn points for every victory, and the leading members of each group, Group A and Group B, will compete in the finals, and the winner will face Noam Dar for the NXT Heritage Cup. Right now, in the lead for Group A is Tyler Bate, and the leader for Group B right now is Joe Coffey, and they both are tied at 4 wins apiece. Actually, Joe Coffey and Nathan Frazier are actually tied at 4 wins apiece. So Group B actually has two leaders right now, and Group A only has one with Tyler Bate with 4 victories. Did I say Patrick Dempsey? I'm so sorry. His name is Charlie Dempsey. Excuse me. Charlie Dempsey, for those who don't know, is actually the son of WWE legend William Regal. The next match that's listed for NXT No Mercy will be Dirty Dominic Mysterio with Mommy Rhea Ripley in his corner to defend the NXT North American Championship against Mustafa Ali. But that's only if Dominic can get past next week's title defense on Monday Night Raw, because announced last night on Raw, it will be one-on-one for the NXT North American title. Dirty Dominic Mysterio defending the title against Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee is a member of the NXT roster, and he will be making his main roster debut live on Monday Night Raw next week against Dirty Dominic Mysterio. That should actually be a really good match. I can't wait to see that. So I would say the winner of that match will end up facing Mustafa Ali for the NXT North American title. And in the main event, we're going to get a rematch from the last NXT Premium Live event. It will be Carmelo Hayes defending the NXT Championship against Ilya Dragunov. The Mad Dragon himself goes one-on-one with him, the NXT Champion, Carmelo Hayes. That should be a really good match. They had an awesome match the first time around. I only see great things in their future. They'll have another... It's going to be another great contest for sure. And another WWE pay-per-view will be coming up as well. I believe it's the following weekend. We're going to have WWE Fastlane on October 7th, but nothing has been announced as of yet. We have no matches set in stone as of yet. Hopefully, these next couple weeks, we're going to start seeing the Fastlane card take shape, and we could talk about that on the next episode of the IE Elite Wrestling Show. Well, guys, that's all I got for you. We got about 5 minutes left, and that's really all I got for you. I've given you all the news. We talked about the return of the Great One, The Rock. Pat McAfee even showed up on SmackDown, of course. John Cena was there. SmackDown was pretty stacked this past Friday on SmackDown, for sure. Last night on Monday Night Raw, they had some great moments. Kofi Kingston and Ivar put on a hell of a match last night between the two of them, representing their teams, the New Day and the Viking Raiders. Nia Jax showed up again to decimate the women's division. She took out Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven all by herself. They're pushing Nia strong already, and she's only been back 2 weeks. I'm sure the internet wrestling community is just up in arms about that. Cody Rhodes was looking strong. The main event was a very great match between Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre. I feel like WWE is already teasing the heel turn for Drew McIntyre, because I feel like Drew has gone stale as a babyface, and I feel like he needs to turn heel and just be a dominant ass kicker like he was once again when he first came back to the WWE and to the main roster from NXT. Cody Rhodes came out to save Jey Uso from a beatdown from the Judgment Day, because Jey Uso did not want to join the Judgment Day, hitting all three members with super kicks, which actually led to his defeat, where Drew McIntyre took advantage of Jey Uso being distracted and hitting him with the Claymore kick, beating him 1, 2, 3. And you can see that Drew McIntyre was conflicted because he was watching the Judgment Day beat down Jey Uso, and he did nothing. And he started to turn and leave. And then when it looked like he was going to decide to go help Jey Uso, that's when Cody Rhodes' music hit, and Cody came running out to help out Jey Uso. So I don't know what the future holds for this shaky sort of relationship between Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. I don't know how Drew McIntyre will fit into that, but I'm sure we'll get more answers as the weeks continue on Monday Night Raw. So, guys, with that, thank you for tuning in to the special early morning edition of the IE Elite Wrestling Show. It was a pleasure, as always, to share my insights and my love of professional wrestling with all of you guys that are listening live. Thank you. Please give a like, subscribe, anything that you can do to show your support for us. Check out planetjerky.net. Order yourself some delicious jerky. Throw some shekels their way. They're our sponsor for the IE Sports Radio Network. Show some love for them and try their delicious jerky. This jerky is on a whole other planet. Please check them out. Go to iesportsradio.com. Follow our shows. Sign up. It's free. Sign up and you can actually blog post. You can interact with a lot of the hosts there. You can check out our past episodes for all of our shows there. Links are in the description here, guys. If you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. I will see you guys next week. It's your boy, the SoCal Saint. This has been the IE Elite Wrestling Show. I will see y'all next time. Peace.